I got to eat some real food this week.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man.
That's right.
Of the seed of man.
The word seed is sperm, and sperm comes through having sex.
It's shut out of your father's rod,
right.
To put it in layman terms, in his penis.
That's right.
That means a man put his penis in a woman and bust off in it.
Then the angel said to him, "Take out the entrails of this fish, and lay up his heart and his gall and his liver for thee. For these are necessary for useful medicines."
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther,
Go ahead.
which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldee.
Greetings, fellow worker slaves, podcasting at 128 kilobits from the Fortress of Squalitude. This is the Atheist in the Trailer Park podcast. I'm your host, Tucker. Professor Fuzznuts is curled up asleep in my bedroom right now, thankfully. Yes, it's a podcast hosted by a guy and his cat. Get over it. And I'll be starting with an update on my current financial situation. Thanks to a number of donations, including a very generous one of $200 from someone who wishes to remain anonymous, it looks like that I'm about $100 from where I need to be. I say about because not all of the money has been transferred to my account yet, so I don't know how much of the money is going to be eaten up by fees, both by transferring it to me and then when I pull it out, since I basically have to pay a fee every time I take money out of the ATM. Even some of the stores around here charge a fee when you do cash back at the register. My landlord, unfortunately, doesn't have a credit card reader, so I can't give him money that way. Once again, my eternal thanks and gratitude to all of you who've helped me out during this time. I have no idea what I'd do if it weren't for all of you helping me out right now. I am not fully out of the woods yet, of course, but it looks like I'm close. I will keep you posted on how things go. Even if I manage to get things completely paid off, I'm still going to have to be careful with my finances. I noticed that I hadn't seen the crazy cat lady around in a while and that some work was being done on her trailer. When I talked with my landlord about it, he said that he'd evicted her because her trailer had become a health hazard. Given what little I'd seen of the inside of her place, that's probably true. She was a hoarder and had at least a dozen cats and a dog. The exterior of her place was in rough shape as well, and my landlord said that he was going to have the place hauled off as garbage because it wasn't salvageable. He also said that he's got 3 other people he's planning on evicting for similar reasons in the near future. I don't know who they might be, as I don't spend a lot of time out and about in the park. I do know that I'd better figure out how to repair the deck roof and paint the deck this year if I don't want to be joining them. So, somehow, I've got to manage to come up with the money for a car and lumber to repair the deck and a couple of gallons of paint. We'll see how it goes. Again, not a huge expense, but when you're living as close to the margins as I do, everything is a fortune to you. In other news, I went to the local Democratic Party's potluck on Thursday night and chowed down on food there. It was a big turnout. About 40 people showed up, which is more than were at the last one, and apparently more than anyone could ever recall showing up. We got an update on their project to get more people voting Democratic in the midterm elections, as well as upcoming events the party is planning. Speaking of which, there are a bunch of nationwide rallies planned for this week in the U.S. I'll have a link to a listing of them in the show notes for this episode. If you can go to one, please do. They also asked for people to run for local office, while giving the disturbing figures for what it costs to run against our representative in Congress, Diane Black. To go up against her, it cost a minimum of $1 million. Not cheap at all, and you'd have no guarantee that you'd even get a significant amount of the vote. We do live in a very red state. We still only had one person of color there, and the age demographic was higher than what I would have liked, but the gender mix was mostly equal, with women outnumbering men by a couple of people. They are moving, not as fast as I would like, and not entirely in the direction I would like, but I'm not complaining because they're at least trying. I had one other decent meal this week as Joe Kendick and his lovely wife took me out to dinner last night at a local restaurant. I thanked them for that. I almost felt like a productive member of society again. It's amazing how empty your life can feel when you can't simply pop out to a restaurant for a meal every now and then. Okay, that's enough of that. I've got to get this thing done and posted as I have to get up early in the morning. My ride has a job interview tomorrow, so she's not going into work, and that means I'm stuck walking in. I'm not sure what happened with the new job she said she had, but I don't have any other way to get there tomorrow other than my own 2 feet, so I have to be up at 4 a.m. if I want to be on time. Now here's Chris from the Podunk Polymath and I reading from the Wisdom of Solomon. Joining me once again is Chris from the Podunk Polymath podcast. Say hello.
Hello. Sorry, I've been drinking a little bit, so I'm a little happier than usual. Plus, the meds are kicking in.
Woohoo! I had a friend who was on Prozac for a while, and she woke up one morning and the walls melted.
Whoa! You should have Prozac?
Yeah.
It wasn't something else?
And she called her doctor, and the doctor's like, well, did you do a lot of acid back?
Yeah, that's...
She's like, no. He goes, well, they're chemical cousins, so, that can sometimes happen.
Yeah, basically replaces the same receptors.
Yeah.
Or whatever in your brain.
And we're going to tackle more of the Wisdom of Solomon, starting with Chapter 8, if you want to go ahead, since you being the guest and all.
Well, let me make sure I have the right one first. Does it start with Wisdom reacheth? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Wisdom reacheth from one end to another mightily, and sweetly doth she order all things.
So she gives you the reach around.
That's right. I loved her, and sought her out from my youth. I desired to make her my spouse, and I was a lover of her beauty. In that she is conversant with God, she magnifieth her nobility. Yea, the Lord of all things himself loved her. Oh, okay. That's kind of kinky.
Yeah. For she is privy to the mysteries of the knowledge of God, and a lover of his works. If riches be a possession to be desired in this life, what is richer than wisdom that worketh all things? And if prudence work, who of all that is a more cunning workman than she?
Oh. And if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude, which are such things as can have nothing more profitable in her life. If a man desires much experience, she knoweth things of old, and conjectureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtleties of speeches, and can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders, and the events of seasons and times. Therefore I purpose to take her to me, to live with me, knowing that she would be a counselor of good things, and a comfort in cares and grief.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
For her sake I shall have estimation among the multitude, and honor with the elders, though I be young. I shall be found of a quick conceit in judgment, and shall be admired in the sight of great men. When I hold my tongue, they shall abide my leisure, and when I speak, they shall give good ear unto me.
I'm sorry.
No, that's... If
Oh,
I
yeah. You, okay, I'm done. Oh, yeah, give me that good ear. Okay, I'm sorry.
if I talk much, they shall lay their hands upon their mouth.
Moreover, by the means of her I shall obtain immortality, and leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that come after me. I shall set the people in order, and the nations shall be subject unto me. Horrible tyrants shall be afraid. When they do but hear of me, I shall be found good among the multitude, and valiant in war.
Somebody needs to tell Trump about Solomon, then.
Indeed.
After I am come into mine house, I will repose myself with her. For her conversation hath no bitterness, and to live with her hath no sorrow, but mirth and joy. Now when I considered these things in myself, and pondered them in my heart, how that to be allied unto wisdom is immortality, and great pleasure it is to have her friendship, and in the works of her hands are infinite riches, and in the exercise of conference with her prudence, and in talking with her a good report. I went about seeking how to take her to me.
For I was a witty child, and I had a good spirit. Yea, rather, being good, I came unto a body undefiled. Nevertheless, when I perceived that I could not otherwise obtain her, except God gave her me, and that was a point of wisdom, also to know whose gift she was, I prayed unto the Lord, and besought him, and with my whole heart I said,
O God of my fathers, and Lord of mercy, who hast made all things with thy word, and ordained man through thy wisdom, that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made, and order the world according to equity and righteousness. Boy, that's a big failure right there. And execute judgment with an upright heart.
Give me wisdom that sitteth by thy throne, and reject me not from among thy children. For I, thy servant and son of thine handmaid, am a feeble person, and of a short time, and too young for the understanding of judgment and laws. For thou, a man, be never so perfect among the children of men. Yet if thy wisdom be not with him, he shall be nothing regarded.
Thou hast chosen me to be a king of thy people. Wait, he's a young kid and he's saying this?
Yeah, that's...
I thought Solomon kind of conquered that throne. I could be wrong. My Old Testament's a little rusty in spots.
Yeah.
And a judge of thy sons and daughters. Thou hast commanded me to build a temple upon thy holy mount, and an altar in the city wherein thou dwellest. Really? So God lived somewhere on earth? That's surprising.
Well, hell yeah. What are you talking about? Of course.
And a resemblance of the holy tabernacle, which thou hast prepared from the beginning. And wisdom was with thee, which knoweth thy works, and was present when thou madest the world, and knew what was acceptable in thy sight. Too bad she didn't share that with Adam and Eve, and write in thy commandments.
Oh, send her out of the thy holy heavens, and from the throne of thy glory, that being present she may labor with me, that I may know what is pleasing unto thee. For she knoweth and understandeth all things, and she shall lead me soberly in my doings, and preserve me in her power. So shall my works be acceptable, and then I shall judge thy people righteously, and be worthy to sit in my father's seat. Sorry.
Yeah, well, if she's leading him soberly, that's a big buzzkill.
Yeah, really, that's no fun.
Yeah. For what is man that he can know the counsel of God, or who can think what the will of the Lord is? For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain. For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and thy earthly tabernacle weighteth down the mind that museth upon many things.
Okay, with the if, really? I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous.
It's like they're from Barcelona or something. Or they went to the Sylvester the Cat School of Elocution.
Rathcly Rabbit. And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon earth, and with labor do we find the things that are before us. But the things that are in heaven who hath searched out? And thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom, and send thy Holy Spirit from above? For so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed, and men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom.
I'm thinking this book was written after Jeebus was supposedly around, because I don't believe Holy Spirit was a big old term in the OT. I could be wrong.
Yeah, the Trinity was only conceived of, I thought, after Jesus.
Yeah.
I could be, I don't remember.
I don't know. It's all bullshit anyways.
That should be the motto of the whole fucking Bible.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit anyways, okay?
Yeah. Pick and choose and whatever. Okay, she preserved the first formed Father of the world that was created alone, and brought him out of his fall. Huh?
I don't know. That doesn't.
And gave him power to rule all things. No, that was God who did that. But when the unrighteous went away from her in his anger, he perished also in the fury wherewith he murdered his brother.
Interesting.
Okay, so we somehow transitioned from Adam to Cain and Abel.
But you have to remember, wisdom is being anthropomorphized here.
Right. But I'm just, there's like, they praise Adam, wisdom's interaction with Adam, and then all of a sudden they say, oh yeah, and Cain just walked away from her and killed his brother. It's not a real good segue there, guys.
Yeah, well, segues don't seem to be their strong suit in general, so.
No.
For whose cause the earth being drowned with the flood, wisdom again preserved it, and directed the course of the righteous in a piece of wood of small value. Moreover, the nations in their wicked conspiracy being confounded, she found out the righteous, and preserved him blameless unto God, and kept him strong against his tender compassion towards the Son. When the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man, who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities. I see what's going on here. It's basically a retelling of, like, some of the biggest hits of the or whatever.
Well, but the thing that really stuck out to me was this describes the ark as a piece of wood of small value.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I bet that would just piss Ken Ham off to no end to hear that.
Well, that doesn't surprise me anyway. Anything piss that motherfucker off.
Yeah. Of whose wickedness, even to this day, the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness. Huh? And a standing pillar of salt is a monument of an unbelieving soul. No, she was a rubbernecker.
Yes, you look back, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's all she did. That was her crime. She's like, curious. Oh, what it looks like to see a city nuked.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. For regarding not wisdom, they gat, huh?
That's what I'm not sure. Is that got?
I have no idea. It could be past tense of got or something.
That's they gotten. I'm guessing. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's just leave. Well, according to Google's, it is a revolver or pistol.
No, I'm not. That's the wrong gas. Yeah. My gat. Not only this hurt, baby. Okay, sorry.
They gat not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. Rut wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. I'm guessing that's supposed to be butt wisdom, because if you're saying rut wisdom, that's talking about fucking. But then again, Lot's daughters did get him drunk and have sex with him because they thought they were the only people left in the world for some odd reason.
Yeah, you're probably, but that is an interesting typo there.
Yeah.
When the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths, showed him the kingdom of God, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travels, and multiplied the fruit of his labors. In the covetousness of such as oppressed him, she stood by him, and made him rich. She defended him from all his enemies, and kept him safe from those that lay in wait. And in a sore conflict she gave him the victory, that he might know that goodness is stronger than all. Sure.
Yeah. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit. And left him not in bonds. Till she brought him the scepter of the kingdom and power against those that oppressed him. As for them that had accused him, she shewed them to be liars and gave him perpetual glory. She delivered the righteous people and blameless seed from the nation that oppressed them. So she was a pillar of fire?
I guess. I don't know. She entered into the soul of the servant of the Lord and withstood dreadful kings and wonders and signs. Rendered to the righteous a reward of their labors, guided them in a marvelous way, and was unto them for a cover by day and a light of stars in the night season. Brought them through the Red Sea and led them through much water.
But she drowned their enemies and cast them up out of the bottom of the deep. So they got barfed back up onto the shore?
Yeah, I hadn't heard that part.
Yeah.
That must be in the director's cut.
Yeah. Or the silent 1920s version that Cecil B. DeMille did first.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore the righteous spoiled the ungodly, and praised thy holy name, O Lord, and magnified with one accord thine hand that fought for them. For wisdom opened the mouth of the dumb, and made the tongues of them that cannot speak eloquent.
I have to say, this is actually an interesting, the way they're doing wisdom as sort of, like I said, an anthropomorphization or whatever.
Yeah.
This actually is interesting, as opposed to some of the other things we've read.
Buttfucker was the son of Fart Knocker, who was the son of Cheese Whiz, who was the son of Testicle Licker, of the family of Dickweed.
Exactly. This reads a little more like actual, well, not very good literature, but literature nonetheless, you know. She prospered their works in the hand of the holy prophet. They went through the wilderness that was not inhabited, and pitched tents in places where they lay no way. They stood against their enemies and were revenged of their adversaries.
When they were thirsty, they called upon thee, and water was given them out of the flinty rock. But it was salt water.
Yeah.
And their thirst was quenched out of the hard stone. For by what things their enemies were punished, by the same they in their need were benefited. For instead of I'm assuming there's only supposed to be one of there.
Yeah.
A perpetual running river. Wait, let me start that one again. For instead of a perpetual running river troubled with foul blood.
For a manifest reproof of that commandment, whereby the infants were slain, thou gavest unto them abundance of water by a means which they hoped not for, declaring by that thirst and how they hadst punished their adversaries. For when they were tried, albeit but in mercy chastised, they knew how the ungodly were judged in wrath and tormented, thirsting in another manner than the just. That sounded okay.
Yeah.
Gibberish, sort of.
Pretty much. For these thou didst admonish and try as a father, but the other as a severe king thou didst condemn and punish. Whether they were absent or present, they were vexed alike. For a double grief came upon them, and a groaning for the remembrance of things past. By Proust.
Oh shit, I lost my place.
13.
For when they heard by their own punishments of the other to be benefited, they had some feeling of the Lord. For, oh yeah, feel the Lord. Feel the Lord. For whom they respected with scorn, when he was long before thrown out at the casting forth of the infants. Him in the end, when they saw what came to pass, they admired. But for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived they worship serpents void of reason, and vile beasts, thou didst send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance. I like that, unreasonable. You couldn't reason with the motherfuckers, apparently.
That they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, by the same also shall he be punished. So, if you sin by being gay, you're going to be punished by being gay.
Interesting.
Not really seeing how that's a punishment.
Yeah, I know.
For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form wanted not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, or unknown wild beasts, full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy scents of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. Man, those are some evil My Little Ponies.
No, that's some dragon shit right there. We got dragons in the fucking Apocrypha here, it looks like.
But I've never heard of dragons sparkling. But there is a sparkle pony, so...
We ignore that part, you know, like they do. Cherry pick it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the fiery vapor and the filthy scents, you know.
Yeah.
Whereof not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroyed them. Yea, and without these might they have fallen down with one blast, being persecuted of vengeance, and scattered abroad through the breath of thy power. But thou hast ordered all things in measure and number and weight. For thou canst show thy great strength at all times when thou wilt, and who may withstand the power of thine arm?
For the whole world before thee is as a little grain of the balance, yea, as a drop of the morning dew that falleth down upon the earth. But thou hast mercy upon all, for thou canst do all things, and winkest at the sins of men. Hey.
That just sounds weird.
Yeah. Hey. Like that sodomy there, guy.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Because they should amend. For thou lovest all the things that are, and abhorrest nothing which thou hast made. For never wouldst thou have made anything if thou hadst hated it. And I'm going to go ahead and knock it out since it's just 2 left.
Okay.
And how could anything have endured if it had not been thy will, or been preserved, if not called by thee? But thou sparest all. No, everybody dies.
Spoiler! Everybody dies.
And if you're a sinner, you go to hell, so you're not really sparing lots of people. For they are thine, O Lord, thou lover of souls.
Okay, we're going on. Ooh, Satan. Okay, no. Okay, spirit. Sorry. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore chasteneth thou them by little, and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land.
Okay, now, if God is in all things, that means when you're having sex with someone, it's actually God masturbating.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Well, God, I mean, if God is in all things, masturbation is having sex with yourself. So if you're having sex with someone, then God is having sex with himself since he's in all things.
That makes my head hurt.
But, I mean, that's kind of the logical interpretation of that. And somebody's drawing blood. Thank you.
Oh, alrighty then. Good job there, Fuzznuts.
Yeah. I need to trim his nails. Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children. Okay. That whole thing about how if you think your wife's been unfaithful, you're supposed to make her drink this stuff, and if she has a miscarriage, she was being unfaithful?
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of murder. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And devourers of man's flesh and the feasts of blood.
God damn. Okay.
One of the early vampire novels in the 19th century was called Barney the Vampire, The Feast of Blood.
No, it's not. You're
Yes.
making that up.
Barney? Barney the Vampire.
No, fuck you. Barney the Vampire.
Yes.
Oh my, no.
Yes.
No. I'm going to have to look that shit up. That's fucking Barney the Vampire. I love you. I like to bite you.
With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help. Well, that describes the Republican Party.
Yeah, hey, tell me about it. That the land which thou esteemest, esteemest above all other, might receive a worthy colony of God's children. Nevertheless, even those that thou sparedest men, and didst send wasps, forerunners of thine host, to destroy them little and little. Not that thou wast unable to bring the ungodly under the hand of the righteous in battle, or to destroy them at once with cruel beasts, or with one rough word.
And it's not Barney the Vampire, it's Varney the Vampire.
Oh, Varney! Yeah. That was in the Marvel universe, actually. But go ahead. Yeah. Well, I wonder where they get that.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to wonder if he wasn't going, "Hey, Vern!"
You're bad. You're bad.
I am not bad. I used to work with one of his ex-girlfriends.
God damn, dude. You're just like full of fucking untold stories.
Yeah. And I should have nailed her when I had the chance, but I didn't. But that's another story.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Live and learn. But executing thy judgments upon them little by little and little, thou gavest them place of repentance, not being ignorant that they were a naughty generation.
Oh, but hey, baby, yeah.
And that their malice was bred in them. So it's genetic. They can't help it. It's like cursing somebody for being blind from birth. They couldn't help it, and yet you're still doing it because you're a dick. Yeah. And that their cogitation, that's a big word, yeah, would never be changed. So you're going, you know they're born this way, they can't help it, there's nothing that any of them can do to change it, but you're still going to be a dick to them.
Pretty much. That's what it amounts to.
Yeah.
Is it me?
No.
I'm sorry.
I've lost my place. There we are. For it was a cursed seed from the beginning. Neither didst thou, for fear of any man, give them pardon for those things wherein they sinned. Right. So you know they're going to be dicks, but you still going to punish them anyways, even though there's nothing they can do to stop it. Brilliant.
That's wonderful. Good going, God. Good going.
Yeah. For who shall say, what hast thou done? Or who shall withstand thy judgment? Or who shall accuse thee for the nations that perish whom thou made? Or who shall come to stand against thee to be revenged for the unrighteous men?
For neither is there any God but thou that careth for all, to whom thou mightest show that thy judgment is not unright. Neither shall king or tyrant be able to set his face against thee for any whom thou hast punished. For as much then as thou art right, God bless. For so much then as thou art righteous thyself, thou orderest all things righteously, thinking it not agreeable with thy power to condemn him that hath not deserved to be punished. Whew. Do I have another one?
No. That's
okay.
I'm thinking that, maybe I need to, when I'm editing this, I need to drop in Samuel L. Jackson screaming, English, motherfucker, can you speak it?
Dude, I'm sorry. These
it's
words.
It's not you. It's this. I mean, it's this gibberish. I'm not blaming you at all. For thy power is the beginning of righteousness, and because thou art the Lord of all, it maketh thee to be gracious unto all. For when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou showest thy strength, and among them that know it thou makest their boldness manifest. But thou, mastering thy power, judgest with equity, and orderest us with great favor, for thou mayest use power when thou wilt.
But by such works hast thou taught thy people that the just man should be merciful, and hast made thy children to be of a good hope, that thou givest repentance for sins. For if thou didst punish the enemies of thy children, and the condemned to death with such deliberation, giving them time and place whereby they might be delivered from their malice, with how great circumspection didst thou judge thine own sons, unto whose fathers thou hast sworn, and made covenants of good promises?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah.
Therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more. As anyone who was beaten up by bullies in high school will testify. That's a load of horse shit.
Yeah, really.
To the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy. Wherefore, whereas men have lived dissolutely and unrighteously, thou hast tormented them with their own abominations. For they went astray very far in the ways of error, and held them for gods, which even among the beasts of their enemies were despised, being deceived, as children of no understanding. And that pretty much describes me at this point with what I just read. And go ahead and knock the rest of this out.
Therefore, unto them, as to children without the use of reason, thou didst send a judgment to mock them. But they that would not be reformed by that correction, wherein he dallied with them, shall feel a judgment worthy of God. For, look, for what things they grudged, when they were punished, that is, for them whom they thought to be gods. Now, in brackets, being punished in them, when they saw it, they acknowledged him to be the true God, whom before they denied to know, and therefore came extreme damnation upon them. Right on. Right on, brother.
Yeah, so... Suppose I guess they're talking about something in the Bible, but I don't remember what.
Yeah, this is getting a little vague on some of this stuff. In the beginning, you could kind of identify what they were talking about, but now it's getting kind of fucking obscure.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of God. But the people who know God, therefore, are not vain?
No. What are you talking about? No.
Look at Joel Osteen's house.
But he's not,
Yeah, he's not vain at all. That reminds me, something I want to start doing, I got to figure it out, but you'll probably want to do it as well, is whenever monetary things are brought up in a discussion, I want to describe them in like Joel Osteen units, or some kind of evangelical who's wealthy. So like it's $700 million or 5 Joel Osteen houses or whatever he paid for his shithole.
JOs.
Yeah.
Something like that. JO dollars.
Yeah.
Something like that. JODs.
Well, I know they take in $600,000 a weekend in collections.
God damn.
Yeah.
That makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, that's better than all the televangelists did back in the day.
Well, yeah, Kenneth Copeland claims to be a multi-billionaire. But, of course, since he's a religious leader, he doesn't have to release his...
Any tax talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. And they're talking about getting rid of the Johnson Amendment, which they don't fucking enforce anyway.
Oh, no. They do when it's somebody speaking in opposition of them.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah.
I want an atheist group to do that, challenge that fucking shit, and see what happens. Let American atheists do some shit like that and see what happens.
Yeah, that would be interesting. All right. And let's see here. Let me restart this verse. Surely vain are all men by nature who are ignorant of God, and who could not, out of the good things that are seen, know him that is. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of the stars, or the violent water, or the lights of heaven, to be the gods which govern the world. Or they looked at them and said, this fire stuff appears to be oxidation.
Science.
Yeah, the lights of heaven, those are stars, big balls of fusion gas.
Can you imagine Bill Nye being alive back then? that motherfucker would have been killed immediately.
Yeah, him, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
With whose beauty, if they being delighted took them to be gods, let them know how much better the Lord of them is. For the first author of beauty hath created them.
Oh, go fuck yourself. Really? The first... Anyway. But if they were astonished at their power and virtue, let them understand by them how much mightier he is that made them. For by the greatness and beauty of the creatures proportionally, the maker of them is seen. But yet for this they are the less to be blamed, for they peradventure err, seeking God and desirous to find him. Peradventure, I don't see that much.
Yeah, that's an old old word. For being conversant in his works, they search him diligently.
Oh. Sorry. Search me diligently. Okay, sorry.
They get to try out a new wrinkle every night.
Oh, shit. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
And believe their sight, because the things are beautiful that are seen. Howbeit neither are they to be pardoned. Well, that's a good question.
Howbeit neither that they're... interesting. Okay.
For if they were able to know so much that they could aim at the world, how did they not sooner find out the Lord thereof? Because he doesn't exist?
Yeah, exactly. But miserable are they, and in death hangeth their hope, who call them gods, which are the works of men's hands, gold and silver, to show art in, and resemblance of beasts, or a stone good for nothing, the work of an ancient hand. Now a carpenter that fell a timber, after he hath sawn down a tree, meet for the purpose, proper for the purpose, and taken off all the bark skillfully round about, and hath wrought it handsomely, and made a vessel thereof fit for the service of man's life, and after spending the refuse of his work to dress his meat, hath fulfilled himself.
And taking the very refuse among those which served to no use, being a crooked piece of wood, and full of knots, hath carved it diligently, when he had nothing else to do, and formed it by the skill of his understanding, and fashioned it to the image of a man. The implication of this is that God grabbed a piece of garbage and made a person out of it.
Of course, because men are garbage, and we have to look to man, or to God, to make us perfect, or close to perfect, because we're not perfect in and of ourselves.
Or made it like some vile beast, laying it over with vermilion, and with paint coloring it red, and covering every spot therein. Huh?
I don't know. He was painting vermilion is like a dye that looks like red, right?
Yeah. I does believe. Yeah. Made from mercury sulfide.
Oh, that's great. That's healthy. That's healthy. That isn't called brain damage or anything like that.
No. And when he had made a convenient room for it, set it in a wall, and made it fast with iron. Huh?
And when he made a convenient room for it, set in the wall, don't know. That doesn't really make much.
But this seems to be saying that God grabbed a piece of wood, made a person out of it, built a room, and locked the person in a cage.
Set in the wall, made it fast with iron. For he provided for it that it might not fall, knowing that it was unable to help itself. For it is an image, and hath need of help. Then maketh he prayer for his goods, for his wife and children, and is not ashamed to speak to that which hath no life. For health he calleth upon that which is weak, for life prayeth to that which is dead, for aid humbly beseecheth that which hath least means to help, and for a good journey he asketh of that which cannot set a foot forward, and for gaining and getting, and for good success of his hands, asketh ability to do of him that is most unable to do anything. That's gibberish. That's interesting.
It's I'm guessing it's like they're doing an allegory of, somebody whittling a figure and painting it and carving it, or painting it and as a god and putting it up in a cage or something, and they're trying to say that this whoever the whittler is imitating God but is not God and is praying to the wrong things. That's the best I can scratch out of that.
Well, I do know that they did have household gods, and And as you recall, I'm sure that the God Yahweh, as long as you put him above the rest of them, he didn't really care.
Yeah.
But there were household gods. The Israelites had household gods, so maybe that's what they're talking about.
And the Romans had them as well. So, again, one preparing himself to sail and about to pass through the raging waves, calleth upon a piece of wood more rotten than the vessel that carrieth him. Well, you don't exactly want to be in a rotten boat.
That's pretty stupid, yeah. It doesn't make much sense.
For verily desire of gain devised that, and the workman built it by his skill. But thy providence, O Father, governeth it. For thou hast made a way in the sea, and a safe path in the waves.
Showing that thou canst save from all danger, yea, though a man went to sea without art. Nevertheless, thou wouldest that, God bless, wouldest now that the works of thy wisdom should be idle, and therefore do men commit their lives to a small piece of wood, and passing the rough sea in a weak vessel are saved. For in the old time also, when the proud giants perished, the hope of the world governed by thy hand escaped in a weak vessel, and left to all ages a seed of generation. Okay.
This seems to be saying that the giants drowned in the flood with Noah and were never seen again. But I believe the story of David and Goliath came after that. And even if it didn't, there were certainly giants discussed elsewhere in the Bible after the Great Flood.
So there were still giants.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I'm going to go into a bit of a digression here.
Okay.
There's a theory that the giants described were people who had some kind of weird genetic defect that still exists to this day, and the people who have that tend to have 6 fingers on their hands, and they're unnaturally tall.
Polydactylism.
Yeah, but it's some other thing. It's not identical to what Andre the Giant had, but it's apparently related. Yeah. So the 6-fingered man in The Princess Bride should have actually been a really tall dude.
Well, that's what inbreeding, I'm sure, has something to do with that, I would think.
Yeah, that probably would. Not that you or I would know anything about that in the States.
What?
Yeah.
What is this that you speak of?
For blessed is the wood whereby the righteousness cometh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let me cometh all over with my righteousness. Okay.
The wood cometh, baby.
Oh, yeah.
But that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it. Because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, English, motherfucker, can I speak it? It was called God.
That makes no fucking sense. And because being corruptible, it was called God? What? God is supposed to be incorruptible. Isn't that the whole fucking point?
Yeah, well, this is a little g, so,
well...
It still doesn't make much sense.
Shit. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike and hateful unto God.
Okay. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation. Because in the creature of God they are becoming an abomination, and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare for the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. I like spiritual fornication.
Yeah, that's a nice term.
Hey, baby, you want to get together with... I'm not talking about real fornication. I'm just talking about spiritual fornication.
You want a ghost fuck, baby? Baby,
fuck.
I'll teach you how to astral project, and then we can fuck on a whole nother plane.
All right, that's some goddamn hippie shit.
When we get done, I'll have a goddamn hippie shit story for you.
I'm all good with that.
For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under the him ceremonies and sacrifices.
Sure. Thus in process of time an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm not.
For he, peradventure... Ooh,
There we go. Second time.
yeah, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before was but honored. And this was an occasion to deceive the world, for men serving either calamity or tyranny did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name. Really?
Really? Yeah, incommunicable. Come on. That's out of place.
Now, when I say Jehovah...
It was the best meat I ever had. I just said Jehovah.
Nobody's to throw any stones.
Okay, dude. All right.
24.
Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made reveling of strange rites, they kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery.
So that there reigned in all men, without exception, blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation. Corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanliness.
Cats and dogs living together.
Anarchy.
Mass hysteria.
For the worshipping of idols is not to be named... Wait a minute. For the worshipping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. Tell that to the Catholics. And go ahead and knock the last of these out.
For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. For insomuch as their trust is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. Howbeit, for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of God, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners that punisheth always the offense of the ungodly. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah. I'm debating.
How long is 15?
Yeah, it's 19 verses. You want to do it?
Yeah, sure. Knock it on out.
All right. But thou, O God, art gracious and true, long-suffering and in mercy, ordering all things. Which would mean that God was ordering people to create false idols to worship.
Exactly.
For if we sin, we are thine, knowing thy power, but we will not sin, knowing that we are accounted thine. What?
I don't know.
That just looped back on itself in a weird way.
Circular logic say it's not so.
For to know thee is perfect righteousness, yea, to know thy power is the root of immortality.
For neither did the mischievous invention of men deceive us, nor an image spotted with diverse colors, the painter's fruitless labor, the sight whereof enticed the fools to lust after it, and so they desire the form of a dead image that hath no breath. Both they that make them, they that desire them, and they that worship them, are lovers of evil things, and are worthy to have such things to trust upon. Right.
Okay. For the potter, tempering soft earth, fashioneth every vessel with much labor for our service. Yea, of the same clay he maketh both the vessels that serve for clean uses, and likewise also all such as serve to the contrary. But what is the use of either sort, the potter himself is the judge. And employing his labors lewdly, he maketh a vain god of the same clay, even he which a little before was made of earth himself, and within a little while after returneth to the same, out of when his life which was lent him shall be demanded. Notwithstanding his care is, not that he shall have much labor, nor that his life is short, but striveth to excel goldsmiths and silversmiths, and endeavoureth to do like the workers in brass, and counteth it his glory to make counterfeit things.
His art is ashes, his hope is more vile than earth, and his life of less value than clay. Forasmuch as he knew not his Maker, and him that inspired into him an active soul, and breathed in a living spirit. But they counted our life as a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means.
Capitalism, baby.
That's right.
For this man that of earthly matter maketh brittle vessels, and graven images, knoweth himself to offend above all others. Really? If he's never heard of your God, how does he know that he's offending that God? And all the enemies of thy people that hold them in subjugation are most foolish, and are more miserable than thy very babes. For they counted all the idols of the heathen to be gods, which neither have the use of eyes to see, nor noses to draw breath, nor ears to hear, nor fingers of hands to handle, and as for their feet, they are slow to go.
For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them, but no man can make a god like unto himself. For being immortal, he worketh a dead thing with wicked hands. For he himself is better than the things which he worshipped, whereas he lived once, but they never. Yea, that they worship those beasts also that are most hateful. For being compared together, some are worse than others. Neither are they beautiful, so much as to be desired in respect of beasts, but they went without the praise of God and his blessing.
Well, that pretty much sums up every religion in a nutshell, and throws in a nice dash of bestiality.
You gotta love bestiality, man.
No.
As long as you sedate them, they're fine.
There's an old In Living Color sketch where they're making fun of evangelists, right? And the one guy's going, oh, and today we're having a special on all the sins that begin with B. And he's naming off, like, bigamy, just these various other sins that begin with B, but not bestiality. And Jim Carrey is like, even the big B? It, which obviously it has to be bestiality at this point, right? And whoever's playing, I think it was David Alan Grier who was playing the preacher, he pulls back and he's like, son, there are some things that even God cannot forgive.
Exactly. Although you'd be surprised how many engage in it. Or you may not be surprised.
I've lived in Tennessee for 30 years.
Exactly, yeah.
Don't really surprise me. I had a coworker tell me one time, yeah, sheep's the best lay you'll ever have.
That's what I've heard that before, yeah. And it's sad that I have heard that before.
Well, and one guy I worked with, he said something stupid one time, and I said, the guy's name was Roy. I said, well, Roy, at least my closest relative isn't an ape. And he starts going off about evolution. He's like, well, I've done all this research on my family tree. I don't believe in none of that evolution stuff. And I was like, Roy, I wasn't saying you had descended from apes. I was saying that you had yet to descend from ape. And he's like, well, I ain't found no monkeys in my family tree yet. And I go, a few sheep maybe, but no monkeys.
Oh, hello.
Roy's comeback was, well, sheep are useful.
Okay.
See? At that point, I was done. I'm like, oh, I'm out of this conversation.
And I'm done. Okay.
I don't need to hear it no more.
Yeah, that's funny. But sad, but funny. And disturbing, but
Yeah, that was an interesting job at times. Boy, it was. All right, so why don't you give everybody the details on your podcast?
All right. The PodunkPolymath.com is the website. On Facebook / the Podunk Polymath, Twitter at Podunk Polymath, email me at podunk.polymath@gmail.com. Check out the secret group. Well, it's closed group, whatever the fuck. Facebook.com/groups/ the Podunk Polymath Podcast Posse, separated by periods. And I would encourage people to call 615-378-7676, which spells Popo, because nobody fucking calls that fucking thing. Fucking please, somebody call it. Just, I don't even care if it's like a prank call. Somebody fucking call it. Ugh.
So did you pick Popo, or is that just a happy coincidence?
No, I picked it. Yeah, I picked it. Plus 76 is like 1776. It stands for freedom. It's like dual freedom. The freedom you get when you listen to the podcast. So, yes, it's weak. I know. And
I'll have links to all that in the show notes, so folks can check it out at their leisure.
Yeah. Unless you have a lot of leisure, I'm pretty sure you're not going to, but hey, why the fuck not? That's basically the motto. Why the fuck not?
And you will be at NanoCon and ReasonCon.
Yes, I will, and I'll be on a panel as well as yourself.
Yes.
At NanoCon for podcasters. So that's good. That should be fun.
Yeah, so did the first indication that you were going to be on that panel, was it like mine when you got the email, hey, we need your photo because you're on a panel?
No, actually, I was like in it. I'm one of the ones that planned it.
Because that was my notification. Hey, we need a photo from you because we're doing a panel and you're on it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like one of the people that does shit, sadly enough. So, yeah. I have the Twitter account and the Facebook account for NanoCon. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not the only one, but I'm one of them.
No, I know how all that works.
So, yeah, I'm really enthusiastic about it, just because we have some good speakers.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Dillahunty, J.D. Eberhardt.
Yeah. Mandisa Thomas is going to be there, and what I really like, I just saw on the page, was that there's a documentary called Exodus, which is about black non-believers in the South, that's going to be, because that's a whole different thing with black non-believers in this, because black people in the South tend to be like super Christian.
Oh God!
And this is, I mean, like, to the extent where you can't, if you're not Christian, you're like not even part of the community. I mean, they're like outcasts and shit, like total outcasts. I mean, it's, yeah. I would encourage anybody, when it comes out. I don't think it's out. Well, I don't know, but when it comes out, I would encourage anybody to see that.
Yeah. And I'm just happened to looking over the page for the discussions. But, besides Callie being there, Carla Lewis is going to be there.
What? Did I miss that? Shit. I actually got together with her for drinks last week. I didn't know she was going to be there, though.
It's what Carla Lewis, trans-military veteran.
Well, she's going by Carla Combs now, I think. But whatever. Yeah. I didn't know that. Fuck. That's cool as shit.
Yeah. I gotta talk to a trans friend of mine and see if there's anything she wants me to ask Carla, because I know she's a bit of a fan. So
yeah, she's really cool. Like I said, I hung out with her, and she's like really down to earth, and she gives zero fucks.
Well, yeah, because I know her, because she's had the T-shirt. The photo of her in the T-shirt that says, "I fought for your right to discriminate against me," or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, she's really down to earth, man. I mean, it's like, you can ask her anything. She doesn't give a fuck. She was telling me shit about her transition because she had the surgery, the bottom surgery. I'm like, okay. Thank you for sharing that. Just volunteering shit and not necessarily what to hear.
Oh yeah. Well, what did you see the South Park episode where Mr. Garrison does his surgery?
I don't think so.
Because they show operating room footage.
Really?
Really?
I may have seen that. Was it a long time ago, or was it recent?
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but that was just... It was like, holy shit, they actually showed that. But if you want to hear the funny hippie bullshit, I'll tell you that. At my new job, right, I run a machine that's sort of like a printing press. I mean, it can be used for printing. We print some stuff, but it's not like full color printing using it, right?
Yeah.
But it's, the machine dates from like the 1960s, and there's two guys there who definitely know how to run them. One of the guys really knows how to run them, and the other guy mostly knows how to run it. And so when you set up the machine to do a job, at some point you have to get clearance or approval from one of those two guys, right? Well, I got on one of the most recent jobs I was running, I got clearance from the guy who had the least, the lesser of the two as far as experience goes, right? And he comes over and he looks at the machine, he's checking stuff out, and basically, if you can get shit off the machine that's right, you're golden, as long as there's no sparks flying out of the machine or anything like that. That's how it's supposed to work, because even though we have detailed instruction manuals telling us how to set the machines up, they're quite often not very detailed, or they're wrong. So he comes over and he looks at everything, and he just starts spouting off this weird shit about how, well, yeah, I know it's putting out good parts, but, the chi's all wrong, and, the spirit animal, the machine will get angry, and all this other shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I'm just like, God, no.
That sounds like... We must appease the spirits. Throw the virgin into the volcano.
Yeah, and so we had to rejigger all this stuff in a pointless manner that doesn't really change anything, but, it harmonizes the feng shui and the chi.
Oh, I will... I'll punch you in the throat. I mean, that's...
Well, the guy apparently is, he apparently follows Native American spiritualism and Scientology and some other hodgepodges of religious belief.
That's like the worst of the worst.
I know.
He's like the worst hits of all the religions.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, God, man. No! I don't want to have to do all this shit just because you think this... the volcano god is angry.
Exactly. Oh, man, that's fucking ridiculous. Jesus Christ. But it didn't surprise me one bit, which is even sadder.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, I said, and the sad thing is that the other guy is, you can do something, different than what he would expect. And he's like, wow, that's cool. That works, so we'll run with it. Whereas this guy is like, sometimes you do different things than he expects, and he's like, he just gets pissed off and insanely angry.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and he, like one time I was doing a job, and there was a problem, and crap got wrapped up around some rollers, and you had to pull the rollers out and clean them off. And he's just like, he's helping me with this, and he's going, you have to take care of this machine, because all it wants to do is run beautiful parts all day long. And he's like practically crying while he's telling me all this.
I don't even know what to say, to be honest with you.
And it's just like, dude, man, I mean...
What? Go smoke a bowl and chill the... I don't even know.
I know. It's just like, dude, this is not... Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. That you have... that's all I gotta say.
Oh, I know.
That's it for this episode of The Atheist in the Trailer Park Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as just about anywhere else podcasts can be found. Many of the episodes are also on YouTube. Follow the show on Twitter. @TParkAtheist is the show's Twitter handle. It's on Facebook at facebook.com/trailerparkatheist.com. If you happen to like the podcast, please rate it on iTunes. If you'd like to support the podcast, there's a donate button on the show notes page. You can support it via Patreon at patreon.com/TNTucker. Thanks for listening.
Say goodnight, Fosnuts.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
Damned cat.